This lesson is going to look at using the Pythagorean theorem to find the missing length of a diagonal of a rectangular prism. In order to do that, you have to use the Pythagorean theorem multiple times. So let's take a look. So let's say we have the rectangular prism shown in the picture. Now I want to find the diagonal that they labeled in red, that's labeled D. In order to do that, I have to be able to make that into a triangle. So I'm going to take that line and I'm going to make it into a triangle, and it's got to specifically be a right triangle so I can connect it going straight down here, right, where my right angle is going to be, and then it's going to go diagonally across here to make it a triangle. So by looking at the sides of a triangle, I know that this side is also 12 inches. But I don't know the length of the diagonal, and I don't know this other side down here. So if I'm looking here at this other side down here, which I just highlighted again in blue, I have to be able to figure out what that is first before I can use that side to figure out what the missing diagonal is. So I want to make that into a triangle using two sides that I already know. So I can connect it here, and then my right angle connects down to here. So I know that this side is 8 inches, and this side then would be the 10 inches from the picture of the rectangle. So if we're looking at the blue triangle, we are missing the hypotenuse C. So this would be side C. So I'd have to take the values I know, which are 10 and 8, and I would have to square them. 10 squared gives me 100, 8 squared gives me 64. Because we're missing side C, I have to add them together. So I have 100 plus 64 gives me 164. My last step in that section is to take the square root. Now, the square root of 164 is not a perfect square. So I'm just going to leave side C. I'm going to erase the side C label, and I'm going to label what we just found it is, and that's the square root of 164 inches. I don't care what that's closer to, I don't care what it's between, and you'll see how it's easy to deal with that in a moment. So now if we go back to our red triangle, we have 2 of the 3 sides. We're missing still the diagonal, which is what we're trying to find the length of. So I take the 2 sides that I know. One side is the square root of 164, and the other side is 12, and I want to square them. So the square and the square root, like we talked about at the beginning of the school year when we did equations, those are opposites of each other, so they cancel each other out. So the square root of 164 squared is just 164. So you don't have to worry about, oh my God, how do I square a square root? Because they're opposites, they cancel each other out. And then we know that 12 squared is 144. Now, the diagonal is the hypotenuse that we're missing, so I have to add these two values again together. So 4 plus 4 is 8, 6 plus 4 is 10, carry the 1, and 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. So my last step is to take the square root of 308. And that is not a perfect square, so that is the square root of 308 inches. And because it's not a perfect square, we have to decide what it is between. So it's between 17 and 18, and it's closer to the 17. And I need the unit, so 17 and 18 inches and 17 inches. So our final answer for how long the diagonal is that it is the square root of 308 inches, which, because it's not a perfect square, is between 17 and 18 inches, but closer to the 17-inch mark.